Hey guys, okay, so we have discussed how to plot a point, how to find a solution, how to test if a point or an ordered pair is a solution, and now we are going to talk about intercept. When we are talking about intercepts, we are talking about the x-axis and the y-axis. So intercepts, you will have x intercept, and that x-intercept is going to cross the x-axis. So your x-intercept are going to be here. And we have y-intercepts, which are going to be along what is called the y-axis, right? So this is the x-axis, and these will be along the y-axis. All right. So if we want to find the intercepts, we want to find out where a line, an equation is a line for linear equations. So as long as the x isn't squared, there's nothing fancy happening with the x or the y. We are looking at an equation. We are looking at something that becomes a line if you put it into a graphing calculator. So on the line, it will cross either the x-axis or the y-axis. That point where it crosses is going to be called the x-intercept or the y-intercept, and together they will be called the intercepts. Also, you could graph a circle. It doesn't always have to be a line. It could be a circle. It will still have intercepts. Where it crosses the x-axis, where it crosses the y-axis is the intercept. All right. Let's just practice solving for y equals. That just means get everything on the opposite side of the equal sign, so you have y alone on the left side. Okay, that's all they're asking us to do when it says solve. Solve for y equals. We have negative 2x plus y equals 6. We're just going to move that 2x over. It's being subtracted from the y, so I'm going to add it. You don't need to put it right under the 6 because it's not the same. It's not a like term. I'm thinking the word common, but I wanted the word like. 6 and 2x are not like terms because one of them has the variable x, one of them does not. So those cancel, and we just have y equals 6 plus 2x. It's more commonly written in the form y equals mx plus b. But what I'm talking about here is here's my y, here's my x, and then m and b are numbers, okay? M is going to be your slope. This will come up later. And then b is called your y-intercept. Your y-intercept, same as down here, is where it crosses the y-axis, okay? Y equals mx plus b. So when you get something like y equals 6 plus 2x, I like to change it to y equals 2x plus 6 because that's in y equals mx plus b form. So my slope here is 2, my y-intercept is 6. All right, if I go and I put it into Desmos, y equals 2x plus 6. Even if I said y equals 6 plus 2x, same line. All right, doesn't matter. Plus 6 is going to be where it crossed the y-axis. That's my y-intercept. My x-intercept is negative 3, 0. So Desmos again tells you your y-intercept and your x-intercept once you click on that line. You can also, just like we did last lesson, create a table. When x is 0, y is 6. They just added all of those points. You need to zoom in. When x is 0, y is 6. When y is 0, x is negative 3. Okay. Y equals 2x plus 6. Let's keep going. This one says 5x plus 2y equals 10. Again, we want y alone on the left side, and then we want mx plus b format. I was showing you on Desmos because plus 6 means that's where it's going to cross the y-intercept. That is the y-intercept. That's where it's going to cross the y-axis. All right, back to solving, right? This was minus 2x, so we added 2x to both sides. We're done solving it. Here, we want this y alone. Y is being multiplied by 2, and y is being added to 5x. So first thing we're going to do is subtract 5x from both sides. Again, don't need to put it right under the 10 because it's a different term. It's not a like term. So now I have 2y over here equals, again, I like to put the x before the constant. If it doesn't have a variable, it's called a constant. I like the variable and then the constant because it looks like y equals mx plus b. Also, when I moved that around, it was a negative 5x, so it needs to remain a negative 5x. That minus stays with the 5x, okay? Last step, y is still being multiplied by 2. I'm going to divide it by 2. Y equals negative 5 halves x plus 10 divided by 2 is 5. All right, negative 5 halves x can also be written as negative 5x over 2. Okay, however you think it looks easier to understand. I'm just going to show you that if I put 5x plus 2y equals 10 into Desmos and I put y equals negative 5 halves x plus 5 into Desmos, it's going to be the same line. (5x plus 2y equals 10 is that red line, okay? And then what I got was y equals negative 5 halves x plus 5. So it's the same line. It's purple, now it's red. Purple, red. Also notice what I said was y equals negative 5x over 2 plus 5 is the same line. Okay, those are the same. Okay, but what is not the same is negative 5 over 2x. See the difference? It's a very different line, that red one. Okay, so the x can go up with the term on top, or it can go off to the side to denote multiplication. If you put it in the bottom of the fraction, you're denoting division, and we're not dividing by x because remember, that's not a linear expression. That's not a linear equation. That doesn't make a straight line because the x is in the bottom of the fraction. Good. All right, so we're just solving for y equals, and that's a good way to test it. Here's what they gave me. Here is my answer. Is it exactly the same line in Desmos when I graph it? X minus y equals 2. You're welcome to move the y over because the y is a negative here, and if I move it over, it'll be positive. So let's do that. You don't have to, however you're most comfortable. Here, that just becomes x equals y plus 2, or 2 plus y, right? They're both positive, positive 2, positive y. And then you'll subtract the 2. And we get x minus 2 equals y. Or we had x minus y equals 2. I can subtract the x. Negative y equals negative x plus 2, right? There's a positive 2 and a negative x. Now, though, you're going to have to divide by a negative 1 because they're not asking us to solve for negative y. They're asking us to solve for y. You can either divide it by negative 1 or multiply by negative 1. Either way, anything divided by 1 is itself, but a negative divided by a negative becomes a positive. Negative divided by negative becomes a positive. Positive divided by negative becomes a negative. Okay, either way, you get y equals x minus 2 or y equals negative 2 plus x, however you want to write it. I recommend you writing it in y equals mx plus b form. Good. Next one is x minus 2y equals negative 2. I want to isolate the y, so I'll subtract x from both sides. I'll get negative 2y, don't forget the negative, equals negative 2 minus x. Y is being multiplied by negative 2, so I'm going to divide it by negative 2. Again, if you don't want to divide or multiply by a negative, just move the y over and then move that 2 over, okay? If that seems easier to you, do it. It's not wrong. Now I have y equals negative 2 divided by negative 2 is just a 1. Feel free to put it in your calculator. Negative x divided by negative 2 is a negative divided by negative becomes a positive x over 2. Again, I said I like to write it with the y equals mx plus b. This is my b, so I'm going to say it's y equals, just put the x in front of the constant, x over 2 plus 1. X over 2 is the same as 1/2 x, okay? That x is being multiplied by 1 and divided by 2. That x is being multiplied by 1 and divided by 2, or the x is being divided by 2, okay? Here we have negative 8x plus 4y equals nothing. I guess we can't solve that. Don't worry about number 5. Intercepts are the points where a graph crosses the x and y axis. Good. What are the intercepts? Here, remember, this is 0, 0. How far did I have to go left or right is x. How far did I have to go up or down is y. Okay. Where do I have to go from 0, 0? If I start at 0, 0, on the x-axis, I didn't have to go anywhere for this guy. So my x is 0. And then I had to go up to... Eesh, very bad at these guys. Not my strength. I'm going to call that 7. 8. No, I'm going to call it 8. Good. So I went 0 on my x-axis, but I went up 8. Good. Here, I'm going to go -2 on my x-axis. This is x. This is y. -2, but I went 0 on my y-axis. All right, those are my intercepts. 0, 8 is this one. -2, 0 is that one. Look at this. This is 4. Sorry, on 0. On 0. On x, I went 0 to the left or the right, but on y, I went up 4. Here, on the x-axis, I went +2, and on the y-axis, I didn't move at all. Good? All right, what about this circle here? This point is going to be from 0, 0. I didn't go left or right, so that's a 0 on the x, but I went up 5. Here, I went to the right 5, but I did not go up or down. Here, it's going to look like this one, but instead of a +5, it's going to be a -5 because I went 0 to the left or right, but I went down 5. Oh, sorry. And then here, it's going to look just like this one. On x, I went in the -5 direction, and on y, I went to 0. All x-intercepts, so an x-intercept is this one. If this is my x-axis, these are my x-intercepts. Good. This is my y-intercept. Or sorry, this is my y-axis, so these are my y-intercepts. So all x-intercepts have the form however far you went on the x, and then your y is 0. All y-intercepts have the form we didn't move on the x, and then however far up or down you went on the y. Okay? So to find an x-intercept, what you want to do is, sorry, I should keep the colors the same. To find an x-intercept, set y equal to 0. To find a y-intercept, set x equal to 0. See that? That's your x, that's your y. Every point has the form x, comma, y. All x-intercepts have 0 for y. All y-intercepts have 0 for x. So to find an x-intercept, set y equal to 0. To find a y-intercept, set x equal to 0. Okay. Graph the function x minus y equals 3 by finding the x and y intercept. So I'm gonna move it back up, that's too close. Oh, my papers, I get turned around. Okay. To find the x-intercept. To find x, y equals 0. Okay. To find the y-intercept, x equals 0. All right. Y equals 0 to find the x-intercept. X minus y equals 3. Y is 0. X minus 0 equals 3. X equals, oops, sorry, put in parentheses. X equals 3. So my x-intercept is the 0.30 because, remember, this is just x, y. We already know our y is 0 because it's the x-intercept. And then my x, I solved for 3. So it's the 0.30. Good. For my y-intercept, x is 0. Good. Same problem. X minus y equals 3. 0 minus y equals 3. Negative y equals 3. Divide by negative 1. Negative divided by negative is a positive. Positive divided by negative is a negative. Y equals negative 3. So that point is 0, negative 3. Okay. Go ahead, put it into Desmo. X minus y equals 3. 3, 0, 0, negative 3. Good. Number 12 is 3x minus 6y equals 6. X equals 0 to find my y-intercept. Good. 3 times 0, because my x is 0, minus 6y equals 6. 0 minus 6y equals 6. Divide by negative 6, divide by negative 6, y equals negative 1. So that becomes the point. Zero, negative 1. To find my x-intercept, y is equal to 1. Or sorry, 0. 3x minus 6y, but y is now 0. Good. 3x minus 0 equals 6. 3x equals 6. Sorry, I kind of rushed that one. Divided by 3, divided by 3, x equals 2. So that's the point 2, 0. Good. Three x minus 6y equals 6. 0, negative 1, 2, 0. Now we have y equals 1/2 x. Again, if it's my y-intercept, x is 0. Y equals 1/2 times x. When x is 0, y equals 0. So my x-intercept is, or sorry, my y-intercept is 0, 0. And my x-intercept is when y equals 0. Y equals 1/2 x, sorry. Y is now 0, 0 equals 1/2 x. X is being multiplied by 1 and divided by 2. So another way to write it is x over 2. To get rid of the division by 2, I need to multiply by 2. 0 times 2 is 0. So x is still 0, which does line up. If my y-intercept is 0, 0, one of my x-intercepts should also be 0, 0. Okay. 14 is just the number x, or sorry, the line x equals 5. So if to find my y-intercept, I need to set x equal to 0. X equals 5 becomes 0 equals 5. It's not true, right? And what if y equals 0? To find my x-intercept, x is still equal to 5. So x equals 5 is just the line straight up and down on x equals 5. All right, so it goes up and down forever. So it has the, it crosses the x-axis at 5, 0, but it has no y-intercept. So its x-intercept is x equals 5, or the 0.50. So I guess I should have called that the 0.50. I didn't really finish that. But it has no y-intercept. So if you see x equals 5, that just means it's going to cross the x-intercept at 5, 0. Good? And our last one is y minus 5 equals 0. So there's no, here, there was no y value. Here, there's no x value. Y minus 5 is 0. X equals 0 to find the y-intercept. Y minus 5 equals 0. There's nowhere to put that x equals 0, so we just say y is 5. And for my x-intercept, y equals 0. 0 minus 5 equals 0. Negative 5 equals 0. None. Okay, so that is just whether you write it as, so remember, x equals 5 is a straight up and down line. Y equals 5 is going to be a straight horizontal line, and it will only have the y-intercept and no x-intercept. And even if you wrote it how they had it originally, y minus 5 equals 0, it's still just a straight horizontal line. All right, so those are your intercepts. Thanks, guys.